Okay, I'm going to show you today about using the Godiva2 client to browse results that are on a Threads server, and this can be usually model results. So here's the Threads server, and if you click on one of these catalogs here, you see a bunch of data sets. There's a bunch of these actually are all unstructured grid triangular model data sets, which are not viewable by Godiva2. But any of these structured grid data sets that come from models like ROMs or Delft 3D or NCOM or anything like that, they can all be visualized. So let's just pick one of these guys here. And when you click the data set, it comes back with all the services up here. And this is what we usually use. We usually go to this OpenDAP service, and we either inspect this, or we copy, do a control A, control C, copy this URL, and open it like a netcdf file in Python or MATLAB or IDV or things like that. But today we're going to actually look at this viewers down here. If you have this WMS service turned on for the data set, if your provider has done that on their Thread server, if they've turned on the WMS service, then this Godiva2 link becomes available. So if you click this little guy, it comes up with a map of the world, and your data set shows up over here. You have to click this plus sign to expand and see all your variables. In this case, you see all the variables listed here, and it's either the long name or it's the standard name that gets used. If it finds a standard name, it uses it. So here we have our oxygen variable, mass concentration of oxygen in seawater. If I click that, it zooms to the right region, and here you can see oxygen for a particular layer at a particular time here on the calendar. If you look up here at the depth, this is actually these are sigma level models or S-coordinate models. So WMS really expects to find fixed layers. It was sort of developed for 5 meters depth or 10 meters above the surface or whatever. It doesn't have the ability to calculate those on the fly, so really you're just selecting layers here. So you have to kind of know that, like 0.97 is going to be the layer near the bottom. So now if we click on the bottom layer, you can see, of course, the oxygen dropped in the deeper part of the Chesapeake Bay here. So so what can you do with this? So you can click on a different date here. You can go back a small amount, like a month here, and you can notice that these darker colors here are the dates where you have data. If we go back to the end, you can see these are all grayed out, which means we don't have data there. And so we go back a year, say to November. Let's just go to, I know, let's go to, oh, I don't know. Let's go to, let's say, June of 2000 here. Okay, so when I click this calendar date up here, it pulls the data and makes that plot. If there were different times within the day, you could click here and drop down a list of times in that particular day. There's only one time. These are just daily values from this particular model. So some other things you can do: you can hold down the shift key, drag a box, and zoom in to a particular region, so you can see what's going on in more detail. It redraws the map. We can click back here to sort of go back to the original view, a fit layer within the window. We could open this image up in Google Earth by clicking this button here. I'm not going to do that right now. We can set a date. We can set, actually, if you don't like the way if you don't like this color map, you can click here and select either a different number of colors or some other color map. If I click this one here, you can see that it's changed the color map. I'm kind of used to the old jet color map, so I like to stick with that. And but you can also do things like change to a log scaling here. Okay, so it comes back and complains that it can't do log scaling because I have 0 as my lower limit. So if you wanted to do log scaling, you'd have to do 0.001 or something like that. And if you have to sort of type in here and then click outside the box to get it to sort of refresh. So let's see. So what else? We changed the color map. We changed. Okay, so at this point we can, let's go back. So we've got a linear scaling. Oh, you can do an auto scaling here, which will scale to the range of the data. So now it's scaled from 0.67 to 9. And or you could just, like we said, type in the limits. Let's do this though. Let's see. So we've got a particular plot up on the screen. We can click this first frame or last frame, and we set the first frame for a little movie. So if we can, so now we're in June. Let's say we jump ahead by clicking this little arrow up here a few months into, say, September, or maybe let's go to October. Just pick some other date. Okay, so we get a new plot, and now we could make we can say, okay, I want this to be the last frame. So now it says create animation from this date to this date. And we can, actually, if we click that, create animation, gives us a choice of how often we want to, how many frames we want to see. So it's kind of nice because by default you might not want to do all 133 frames. So let's just to do it quickly, let's just do each month. We'll say five frames, and it takes a little while to load, but there we go. We're watching a little movie. Stop the animation. Once you've made a particular movie, you can actually, it's taking a while to refresh here. What's it doing? Not sure. Anyway, if you click on a particular spot, let's say we wanted to zoom in and predict some particular spot that we were interested in, like in the channel here, or maybe like on the border. If we click here, we see the actual value here, so 4.8. You could actually do this little thing, create a vertical profile plot, and that just uses these, the coordinates that are these 0 to 1 coordinates. So it could be a little bit skewed with depending on how your layers are distributed in the model, but it gives you a quick sort of look at what's going on through the water column. And another thing you can do here is if you've set this first frame and last frame, you can create a time series plot. So we click here, we can see a little time series plot. So it pulled all the data from all those dates and so you can see there's a lot of variation here, probably on the edge as it sloshes back and forth probably. And let's see, I think that's about it. Oh, you can open this animation in Google Earth, and yeah, I think that's. And of course, you can select other variables. If you select another variable, you might have to rescale it again. Oh, I know. Actually, I did forget one thing. So there's another little tool here that you can use. Actually, if you click on a spot, you can create this. If you create this if you use this little tool here, get rid of that. This little guy will let you do a transect, so you can kind of go along, clickety click, like down the Thalweg here. Let's just say we wanted to do. Well, let's just go all the way out into the ocean. Okay, and if you double click at the end, then it draws a little plot here of the time series along there, along the temperature at that layer that I was on, but then it also makes a little height plot here, plot of that vertical section plot. So that's it. It's a browse tool. Once you've looked at the data for a while, then you probably want to go back and use the OpenDAP link and access the data and actually work with it. But this is kind of a nice, quick little browse thing. And again, it comes with it works with any data set that's a curvilinear grid that's in threads, and it just comes built in. So it's kind of nice to know about. All right, that is it.